On the surface, the Hatfield and Harding Research Outpost on Lier II is a beautiful place, certainly a kind of paradise. So then it might be easy to overlook the darkness that seems to creep in just around the edges. Hey guys, Morphologist here, and welcome back. So if you watched my 3.7 video, you'll know that we've gotten a bunch of new things for FPS Combat, including weapon attachments. But what I didn't mention is that we have a whole new map on Lier II, a planet we've not yet seen in Star Citizen. And so I thought that this would be a great opportunity to not only just show you guys this beautiful new map, but to also discuss the current state of FPS Combat in Star Citizen. And as a bonus, I'll discuss the lore of this map just briefly. I do want to mention though one caveat to this little expose, and that's my current connection. You see, I live in Taiwan, and so the only servers I have access to are either in the United States, Australia, or Europe. So best case scenario, I'm getting 150 ping. Worst case, I'm getting around 300. So all this footage may be a little bit jittery, and that's not because of the game, that's more because of my very crappy connection. Oh, and by the way, do you want a free ship? I thought you might. If you want to find out how you can win a free Banu Defender, make sure you stay tuned until the end of this video. Before I delve too deeply into the look of the map and my feeling towards it, I do want to first explain a bit about what Star Marine is for those of you who might be new to the community. So Star Marine is a game within a game, and in lore, it's the virtual reality that people in the Star Citizen universe can use to practice their FPS combat skills without any consequence. Because in the universe, if you die, you lose your weapon and your loadout, and that can be an expensive loss. FPS combat is difficult in this game, and it will require you being familiar with the gun that you use and how it handles. That way, the next time a bullet whizzes past your head when you're doing a mission, you know exactly how to react and what to do to take down that player. Or actually, even AI, since it seems to be so much better in 3.7. Now that we got that out of the way, we can talk a bit more now about this new map, The Good Doctor. So as I said earlier, this is on Lier II, and in case you're wondering, yes, this is an entire planet. That's due to the new planet tech that they've been working on and how quickly they can pop them out. The only reason why we don't have more planets in Star Citizen really has more to do with the servers not being ready yet, because there's no server-side OCS or server meshing to be able to support more than 50 players. Now, I know many of you want me to do an architect reviews of this map, and I might still, but the difficulty in that is that if I do examine this through the lens of an architect, it isn't very good, and that's because it's not designed to be a real building, it's more designed to be an FPS combat map. You can tell that by just how many passageways and vertical circulation paths they have, which is completely a waste of space. But it makes a lot of sense when you're fighting other players and you need to have multiple routes to get at them. Now, there is one thing I can mention though here, and that's the new design language of this outpost style. It is a Hatfield and Harding specific style, I believe, because what we have currently in Stanton is all based off of ArcCorp's architecture, and so stuff looks very, very similar in our current PU. I would love to see more stuff like this, a specific Hatfield and Stanton outpost on some moon that's a bit bigger, maybe even to this size, that becomes like maybe a trading outpost or something, or maybe even just an in-world FPS combat location where you can pick up, say, I don't know, drugs or something. I think that'd be really, really cool and give us a bit more variety in the actual universe. I love the attention to detail, the texturing, the color palette of whites, oranges, yellows, and just generally warm colors that really fit the landscape of Lier II. And finally, of course, the incorporation of a lot of green space inside of the building, not just in the atrium, but just in the hallways as well. This is probably what you'd want to see in this sort of place. It's a place where people live and work. You don't want it to be super uncomfortable. You want them to enjoy their stay. Fortunately, in the lore, these guys, I guess, enjoyed their stay a little too much and went a little bit crazy. We'll get more into that later. Also, I should mention that there are Easter eggs all around the map that the developers left for us to find that tell us a bit more about the story of the Good Doctor and what happened to his crazy followers. But now let's talk a bit about the FPS combat and how it feels in 3.7. To be honest guys, Star Citizen's FPS combat has never really been that great. They've made a great effort to improve it, however, there have always been issues with it, and this time it has nothing to do with the bugs. It's more to do with the mechanics, and actually it's kind of because they've fixed so many bugs that we're seeing this so clearly now. In my mind, it's really an issue with the responsiveness of the game. Everything feels a bit lethargic. Stuff like aiming down sights, starting and stopping running, and switching out a secondary weapon all feel a little bit weird, like it's not exactly taking your input immediately, and therefore it gives a bit of a strange disconnected feel that can make the experience a bit frustrating at times. I also sometimes feel as though I'm not in control of my weapon. I'm controlling the recoil, I'm crouching or going prone, and yet the weapon is still swaying in a very strange way that makes it feel like I can't actually hit my target accurately. Now we compare this to a hardcore game like, say, Escape from Tarkov, which has been praised for its first-person shooting mechanics, and you see that it's just a little bit more responsive for everything that you do, and so I really don't buy the excuse that Star Citizen is going for a very realistic feel. I think Tarkov does that wonderfully and yet still feels quite responsive. Notice just how stable the hipfire feels in Tarkov as compared to Star Citizen. It feels so wobbly and it just kind of feels like I'm, again, not controlling the weapon. But I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way. Star Citizen isn't Tarkov and I love my spaceships. Don't want that to change. All I think is that it could learn something from such a well-polished FPS shooter like Tarkov, considering there are so many parallels in the hardcore aspect that both these games share. Statistically speaking, it's no surprise then that the biggest crossover game for Star Citizen is actually Escape from Tarkov. The good thing is that it's really, really close. It's still a lot of fun, and I did not find collecting this footage at all to be a chore. In fact, I probably played more rounds than I needed to for the footage I'm using for this video. Rather, I think the movement mechanics just need a little bit more polish to make this feel like a really solid first-person experience, both in the PU as well as in Star Marine. So overall, I think that the new map as well as FPS Combat in 3.7 are fantastic. It's a great thing that we're starting to see new planets pop up in Star Citizen, even if it's only in the form of an FPS map. It is a sign of things to come, especially if that leak of pyro is any indication. That's right guys, we might be seeing a whole new star system at some point in the very near future. Maybe for a sitcom release? I'm not sure. Well, really, I'm really not sure. The idea of using lore to inform the way you design and introduce new stuff into Star Marine is brilliant, and I'm excited to see what they come up with in the future for bigger maps. Having a backstory to things gives the universe a little bit more depth, a little bit more feel, and reason behind all the clutter around us. It's more than just a pretty backdrop. There's something more to it, and the story of the Good Doctor is an interesting one. Outpost that went dark after a doctor somehow convinced the entire staff to completely rebel and abandon everything, their families, their friends, to follow him for some reason. And with a little bit more polish in those movement mechanics, I really feel FPS Combat and Star Citizen could be in a really solid place. Oh, and if you wanted to get your hands on that beautiful Banu ship, it's pretty simple. All you guys gotta do is be subscribed and follow me on Twitch to find out the next time I stream. And in that stream, I'm going to be giving it away, either in this weekend stream or next weekend stream, so you'll have to be following me to find out. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I invite you to share down below your thoughts on FPS Combat and the Good Doctor. What are your thoughts on it, and how can it be improved in your mind, or is it already in a perfect place? I really want to know, and I do read your comments. All for now, I'll see you guys next time.